Hey everybody, it is Velocirix, and I am back with another video tutorial to add to the latest user guide expansion. This time, we're going to be focused on the nation of Egypt. Egypt is an interesting civ, not one of my personal favorites, but Egypt is a very interesting civ because they are probably the most economically focused. Now, I love building a game economy from the ground up. So you would think, wow, Egypt is like custom made for me. Not so much. I don't really get all that excited about Egypt as a nation, but uh, I haven't done a video with featuring Egypt in a while, so this will be a good primer for that. Plus, we're going to do this one a little bit differently. I'm going to analyze this opening on turn one, and I'm going to make what I feel is the best decision for turn one for this sieve, this start, and then we're going to test it because once I make the decisions that I would make, I'm going to back it all out, and we're going to try several different alternative scenarios and see if any of those prove to be a stronger opener. And at the end, knowing a lot more about the map and stuff, I'll go back and compare all of those different scenarios to my initial pick, and we'll see if I change my mind. So this is a great map for Persia because they could make immediate use of this. But there's no food here for us. We don't even have the tech for trapping. So we can't make use of this immediately. We can't make use of these. We could make use of that, the mine, for some culture. We can't make use of this. So yeah, this is a challenging start for us because there's no food here. And with no food, there's no growth that we can tap into, which means our settlers are going to be building slower, which is going to slow us down for the whole game. But there's stuff we can do about that. We know that if we put our leader in the garrison, whatever family we found as, we're going to get two growth. Well, that'll shave a turn off the settler. Okay, that's good. But we also know that we could found as the landowners, and they just get two growth magically, for whatever. Now they also get two culture per crop resource, which we would be wasting here. But that's true at any landowner city. So we could found other landowner cities next to crop resources, and they would still get that. So what I'm looking for right now, though, is how can we grow these initial couple of settlers faster? Well, landowners, that's how. And nobody else does that. I mean, we could get, the extra scout and the super strong mounted units here and the extra training, but we can't build mounted units yet, so that's not going to help us right away. The scout would be useful, but I think the growth would probably be more useful. Uh, Founding a religion, that takes a long time to get off the ground. That's not going to help us right now. This would give us a free tech. It would give us a free level one tech. It's not much of a help. Um, so of these choices, landowners for me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick trapping so we can at least make use of one tile here, somewhat soonish. And let's see. Yeah, the reason this is showing up is because I made an earlier edition of this video and didn't like it, so I'm kind of redoing it. So just disregard that, and we'll get to that in a minute. So let's look at the family members here. She's already got an heir, so we don't need to get married to produce an heir. We just need to get married for political expediency, and for that we need a husband with some wisdom, which Pepi and Akhenaten, they don't have anything to offer us, so we're not going to do that. So we're not spending two orders on that. Now we have a site B, and so that tells us one of our priorities needs to be to bust this fog, so our settler has a clear path, and we need to preferably learn a little bit more about that. So that's got to be a thing. We got two wonders that are not captive wonders. They're not, or two ruins that are not captive ruins. So they're not inside our borders, which means anyone could potentially come take them. So getting those needs to be somewhat of a priority. We've got some cultural resources outside of our borders which we could take advantage of via harvesting. That's important to me, but it's not as important as getting facts on the ground and boosting the installing our leader as governor. We got some other choices, but she's the only one that gives growth. That's what I care about. Okay, so that's a thing. The only tile that we can realistically make immediate use of is this, because we don't have any wood, right? We start with no resources except Egypt starts with 400 stone, which basically guarantees we get an early game wonder, which, yeah, so we're going to take the pyramids when not right this second, but I mean in a little bit. And we got plenty of places we can build those, probably right there. Yeah, we did that. Okay. So, but this, if we move here, all the stuff I need to get this mine cooking is here, right? So we cut the scrub, we clear the land. That gives us the 20 wood to start the mine. And I didn't have to do that individually. I could have just clicked the mine button and it would have done it all for me. But just to demonstrate the point. But that would be my first turn right there. We got a settler coming in 4 now because of the decisions we made. We got a mine cooking that's going to give us 8 or more iron forever per turn, which is going to bring this positive. Food, we can't really do anything immediately about the food deficit, so we're just going to have to live with that for now. Same thing with the stone deficit. We just don't have the resources. Fortunately, or we don't have the tech. Fortunately, we've got enough stone that we can eat some loss there for a while without it hurting our economy too bad. So, yeah, we fix this. We turn this green. We've only got 2 drags on the economy, and we can fix that in relatively short order. So that's what I would do turn 1 for this map. But let's back all that out now. Let's just try some different stuff. So let's say that we don't want to found as the landowners. Let's say we want to found as the riders to get that extra scout. It's a valid choice. That's a good strong civ. And let's say we want, since we have an extra scout, let's say we want to leverage those right away and explore ruin and ruin. So let's do that. Off we go. Okay. Well, here's one of the problems with snagging these ancient ruins early or potentially too early is that in order to get the free tech, we got to have 200 food. Well, we can't. Even if I sold all of this, I couldn't get 200 food. I mean, I'll show you. We'll sell everything we have. We'll buy all the food, and we come up short. We just can't do it. Even if I spend all the rest of my orders chopping, we still don't have quite enough. So there's no way we can get that free tech. Can't be done. Not on turn 1. Um, the best we can do is get discipline, which is not horrible. I mean, that's going to give us 40 extra gold a turn. So, okay, we get some discipline. Let's go grab this wonder, or this relic ruin. Okay, so we get a free tech here. Would have been nice to get 2 free techs, but hey, of these, they're the same price. I prefer Walls and Hamlet. That gives me a way to better defend my cities, way to reduce discontent, and money. That's a good, well-rounded tech. If you want to play the culture game, this one might be more important to you. For me, just the sheer practicality of this one makes it my choice. Okay, so we've still got 2 orders left. Ah, now that makes this a pretty good opening because now we know what we can do with our worker or with our warrior. And I would put old Peppy the Younger in charge here, and we would go over and kick this guy's ass next year. And that will be my first turn. Is that better? That is very much an open question. I wouldn't say it's necessarily better, but it is pretty good. I mean, I'd maybe rate it more or less on par with the opening that I picked. I like knowing that this guy's here. I like having something useful I can do with my warrior, so that makes it good. But I don't know. We had a pretty good thing cooking with the landowner start. I'm not sure that I would say this is necessarily better, but it's certainly a good opening turn. Okay, well let's back it out again. Let's say we'll stick with the Riders as the family that we found with, but let's say instead of doing that, we decide let's get the culture first. Let's do that as the first thing. Well, moving here clears a path to the city. It doesn't really tell us anything new, but it does at least bust that immediate fog. And we can harvest, and we come out here and harvest, and then we move down here, and next turn we can harvest again. And that, I mean, that did add, you know, 20 culture to our city, and it'll add 10 more next turn. That's going to put us a third of the way to a culture bump. And that's important, undeniably. The question is it the best way to spend your orders on turn one? For me, I'd rather have the mine started than this. But if you have, if culture is pivotal to the way that you structure your game, sure, that's totally viable. That could work. And that's, that could be, I don't consider it as strong of an opening because the culture angle isn't as important to me at this point in the game. But if it's crucial that you jumpstart your culture on turn one for the strategy you have in mind, absolutely. That's a badass start. Uh, Opinions will vary. I still like my original start better, but ain't nothing wrong with that one. Okay, so let's back it out again. Let's say you want a religion on turn one, and it's just absolutely a thing that's got to happen for you. Well, Egypt can do that. Um, so let's do as Egypt will found as the clerics, and maybe the clerics have some high wisdom people in their ranks. Well, let's check it. They do. We could marry this guy and get a nice research bonus. I would spend 2 orders to do that right out the gate. And then, do we have any good general talent? Do we put? Yeah. Okay, so they just changed the names. We still got Pepe the Younger, and he can still do his thing. Um, since we don't know that we have any near barbarian camps, I don't know that I'd spend an order to do that because we don't know we need him. Um, if I'm looking, well, actually, I would still, yeah, I would do this absolutely. So then that would take all my orders. I wouldn't scout, but that's a little bit different of a play. We got some resources coming. We have a marriage offer on the table, which is going to boost this by 3 points, which is going to, I mean, that's a big bump for us. So yeah, that starting is and we founded the religion, which it's going to take a long time to put into play, but maybe we get to pick. But see, we don't have. Oh, actually, wait then. Yeah. See, okay. So let's redo this. Let's redo this because I would want to. Okay. So we found the city, but before we do the marriage offer, yeah, let's do this first, and then we get the opinion boost. Okay. So now we don't. So now we can't put a marriage offer on the table, but that's okay. So we could do this, get the mine cooking, and we still have 2 orders then. In which case, we could either come out here and get the discipline, uh, or or we could come out here and do some harvesting next turn. Now that's pretty good. Okay, I like that. We have a religion founded. We're on somewhat decent-ish terms with them. We're set up to harvest some culture next turn. So this, yeah, I like this. This is I still don't think it's as good or necessarily better than the decisions I originally made, but this is surprisingly strong. We get a little bit more civics, and we could uh, do the marriage, or maybe in the intervening turns we get a marriage offer from the other side, and then we don't have to spend the civics on it. This is stronger than I expected it would be. Actually, I still don't think it would eclipse the decisions that we originally made, but this turned out to be stronger than I expected. So that's a good thing. But let's back it out again. Let's just undo all that again. And let's say instead of founding as the clerics, well, let's found as the sages. Um, so family cities get 2 extra civics and unlock the inquiry, and we get a free tech at random when well, it's going to be a level 1 tech because we're founding it first. So we'll do that, and we get Polis. Well, that's what we would have gotten over there. So actually, since this gave us Polis initially, we that's kind of breaking the fourth wall, but let's see what it gives us now. So we'll come over here and explore this ruin. Okay, so we got it. We got another free tech. So let's get aristocracy. And what happened? We only have the one settler, or the one scout, so we can't get back over here. But so by founding as the sages, we actually wound up getting 2 free techs this turn, which is pretty amazing. We'll come out here. Oh look, we discovered a thing. Pretty cool. But now, and we have enough orders that I could. Uh, that's not a great general, but okay. Well, so we got a general that we could put into play and install. No, we can't. Yeah, we can. Okay. Oh wait. Let's before we do that, let's. Okay, so we got a marriage. Yeah, family marriage. And he'll be one of our choices, and we'll marry him, and we're out of orders. Okay, but let's undo. Well, no, actually, this is the last family. So, and there are a couple of additional permutations we could do. Like instead of exploring, we could harvest and hit this ruin, or maybe harvest with the scout. So there are a couple of other options that we could try, but I don't think they're going to materially change anything. So the question is, after having gone through all of those different options, would I change my mind from the decisions that I originally make originally made? And the answer, honestly, is no. I like the decisions. I'm comfortable with decisions that I made initially. So we're talking founding as the landowners. We're talking getting the mine up and running, and we're talking putting our leader in charge. And I think that of all the options we looked at, that's still pound for pound the best decisions we could have made. Now, the one that came closest to making me change my mind was the riders start with the 2 scouts where we found this camp over here. That came pretty close to making me kind of second guess this. But overall, I still think this is the better choice for the long term. Um, what do you think? Did you agree with my assessment? Did you like one of the others better? And when you answer that question for yourself, really stop to think about why. What's different about the way you structure your game that made one of the other options the better choice for you, because that's going to be really enlightening in terms of how you put your game together, how you put your strategy together. And that's going to really shed some interesting light on your play style and probably lead to some cool conclusions about the game in general. So this is where I'm going to stop. I don't want to drag this video on, but I really wanted to do kind of a deep dive with lots of different options that we show on screen for this first turn analysis so we can really kind of get into the weeds of it a little bit. I'll be back soon with another video.